Have you ever looked for some sense of peace in your life and wondered why there's just nothing but frustration? Or have you ever wondered why life just seems more difficult than it needs to be? In this episode, we'll be talking about the dreaded ego and how the insane thoughts of our negative mind just about drown our spirit, and how to get unstuck from ego thinking. So stay tuned.
Well, hi there and welcome. My name is Remy, like Do Re Mi. I'm a best-selling author and creator of the Get Unstuck Revolution. I help extraordinary women with big-ass dreams just like you who want to get unstuck from a life that doesn't work and get to where you know you need to be, into a life that's filled with passions and purpose. Now let's get started with today's episode.
Okay, let me jump off the screen here and switch to my laptop. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite topics. In fact, it's the topic we love to hate, and that's ego. Ego, by any other name, is self-sabotage, and until we learn to overcome it, or what I'd rather say is until we learn how to use it to our benefit, life can be a bumpy road. You know, as business owners, or even in our quote-unquote real jobs, in our relationships at home or at work, or even when we're trying to move to a new financial level, we can sometimes find ourselves wrangling with ego. But the funny thing is, some people say there are only two emotions, love and fear, or love and ego, and it's weird how they're in direct proportion to each other. If you feel like you're battling with tremendous negative thinking, that means there's also tremendous positive thinking there too. Surprised? In this episode, we'll be talking about our greatest area of self-sabotage. Yes, that's our ego, which poses as our best friend. Why we need to proactively place our thoughts into a higher frequency. And when we ask for things to change, it authorizes a cosmic reset button. Yes, we're talking about how to find your hidden power when you want to transform challenges into successes. I like to call it the audacity of alchemy. Because when you're feeling stuck, it's never the situation that has you stuck. It's your energy that's become stuck in doubts, worries, frustrations, indecision. In other words, it isn't the pain of the situation. It's the pain of not being connected in the natural energy of who you really are, of being connected to that magical part of you that's a creative vibrational being who can use positive energies to create what you want and bring it into physical manifestation. Part of this process is to allow your manifestations to materialize and not get stuck in the negative vibrations that block them. These positive energies that we talk about so much are where you find the magic of alchemy. And using your hidden power means using these positive energies to effect transformation. Because if you're like me, then you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks and transform challenges into success. So let's talk about this idea of transformation and the audacity of alchemy. You hear me say so often that it isn't the situation, it's the energy that's become stuck. Specifically, the energy has become stuck in ego's negative thinking. Our ego is our self-sabotage, its resistance, even though ego poses as our best friend. We filter all our experiences through our ego thinking. Our ego mind decides if things are for our benefit or not for our benefit. This is actually good, healthy discernment if we know how to use it. When this filter of ego looks at our life experiences and decides if things are for our benefit or not, it's showing us the difference between what we want and what we don't want. And this is really a beautiful way to use ego thinking, because in seeing that contrast, we can better identify what we want to create. The problem is we sometimes get stuck in ego thinking, and if we don't figure out how to stop the insane thoughts, it can drown our spirit. I'm sure you've been there before, going right down that rabbit hole and facing anxiety or maybe depression, or at the very least just feeling stuck. It seems like ego will try and use our own wisdom against us, but if we change our viewpoint, if we see these life experiences are showing us the difference between what we want and what we don't want, this is really what ego is showing us. It's not trying to make a mockery out of us and throw us into the depths of despair. It's trying to get us to be a creator. It's trying to get us to use positive energies to create what we want and effect transformation. This is where we find the magic of alchemy. And when we know this, then it's easier to maintain a higher frequency of thought because we're looking at what we want to create instead of just drowning in negative energies. By the way, I have an amazing new tool to help you dissolve obstacles and become a creator. It's called the Alchemy Matrix, and it's going to help you shape your destiny. It's an interactive roadmap designed to help you solve problems, dissolve barriers, and create a future that you'd like to see. Just a brief reminder that you can sign up and learn more about the Alchemy Matrix at successcircleworkshops.com. Promise to tell you more about that in just a minute. We want to proactively place our thoughts with these higher universal energies, because if we find that we're drowning in confusion or doubts or even anger, it's because we're listening to ego's negative thinking. We aren't at peace. But we can turn this on its head because it's there for our benefit. Either look for the opposites. I don't like this at all, and what I'd rather experience is that. Or what I just love to ask is, where do I belong in all this? Asking, where do I belong in all this, is exercising a bit of faith. It's saying that we're willing to align with universal energies. It's saying that we're willing to trust the process, even if the process looks a bit wonky. In surrendering to the process, we're surrendering to a higher universal intelligence. If we don't proactively place our thoughts with these higher universal energies, the ego will take it from there and make the whole thing much more difficult than it needs to be, as it tries to get us to look at these differences between what we want and what we don't want. And this is where I hear so many people saying, the universe must hate me. No, it's all these forces asking us to adjust our footsteps for a better, higher path. You know, somebody at one of our success circles told me something that I've never forgotten. She said, ego is suspicious at best and vicious at worst. And we all love that so much. But really, I want to emphasize this. These relentlessly insane thoughts that ego puts into our heads force us to think about our best and highest journey. Every choice becomes, am I going to slow my progress or advance my progress through life's journey? Because if we don't stop the insane thoughts and behaviors of ego, it could drown our spirit. Remember, we're shifting our perspective to a higher frequency. We're saying, within this pain, I'm seeing contrast. So let me align with higher consciousness so that I can effect transformation, so that I can find the magic of alchemy. The universe is self-correcting, and it will work things out for us if we'll let it, but it bows to our free will. If our free will allows us to swim in confusion, indecision, or frustration, then the universe will bow to that energy. It will yield to our free will. It won't interrupt us if that's where we want to be. However, if we're willing to have the situation change, if we ask that it change, this authorizes a cosmic reset button. All we have to do is recognize the negative thoughts. When our discomfort is aroused by these negative thoughts, that's actually our spiritual self seeking balance. It's our spiritual self looking for alignment with higher thoughts. But we stay stuck and we don't allow our perspective to shift into these higher, more positive thoughts, and that's where we become stuck in ego thinking. So in these moments where we feel that our progress is lagging, that's only a signal to us that we have undisciplined thinking. We've been allowing ego to guide us. We've been allowing ego to initiate our plans. In other words, our undisciplined thinking has put us deeper into what we don't want, until we finally choose to align with higher thoughts about what we do want, which is to have more positive life experiences and not get stuck in the negative vibrations that block them. We can ask for higher thought, for a higher perspective. Universal energies will enter into this third dimension consciousness with us and hear us when we ask to be lifted into a higher consciousness, when we ask to be on a different wavelength than ego. When we're on this higher wavelength, we actually don't even need to make decisions, because what we're really doing is asking universal energies to guide us, to inspire us, and to strengthen our knowingness so that we just know the right thing to do or the right direction to take, rather than allowing ego to guide us. This is the magic of alchemy. And when we're tuned into this magic, to our intuition, to our knowingness, we can follow the guidance and not be forced into a place where ego initiates our plans. So how do we know if it's our intuition? I get asked this question a lot. Our intuition sounds peaceful, while the voice of ego sounds hysterical, doubtful, loud, It screams at us. Ego makes decisions out of frustration and anger, and the decisions are loud and pushy. That's how we know ego is pushing us into a decision. Just remember that in the presence of light, the gloomy ego, it can't survive. So stay in the light, stay out of the hysterical and doubtful thoughts, and simply ask, where do I belong in all this? And then listen for that peaceful, gentle voice of intuition. Ego keeps telling us that the way things are, it's not enough, and so we tend to keep feeling that frustration more and more. Ego is pushing us into a decision, asking us to fight. The fight, though, is to align with a higher frequency. That's the paradox. The paradox is that we can have what we want when we stop fighting it. Yes, I'm telling you to move on up to a higher frequency. Stop fighting with ego. Stop tuning in to ego. The paradox is that the moment that we come out of this negative vibration, we'll stop attracting negative situations. When we stop the negative vibration, we're releasing resistance to success. We stop repelling success. In letting go and surrendering to the grace of the situation and allowing ourselves to rise to a higher frequency of positive thoughts, this is actually the best chance we have of success, because we'll be guided by our knowingness instead of the insanity of ego, which is only trying to push us toward this higher frequency anyway, if we'll just stop tripping over the negative patterns. And there's one more certainty at play, that whatever comes along will be a more positive experience. As we play into this higher frequency, when we're in the higher consciousness, we just know what to do. It isn't a decision coming from ego, it's knowingness. We just know what to do. Everything we do is infused with the consciousness in which we do it. If we aren't coming from a higher place of consciousness, we'll get off track because ego is determined and insistent. Our higher intelligence is also determined if we'll listen. One leads to success and one leads to more frustration. Which voice will we listen to? We'll know by how we feel. Are we feeling more grounded, more centered? Or are we still feeling the chaos of negative energies? So let's put our consciousness into that higher frequency. It's the best self-care out there. Now, I have a little exercise because I get asked this question all the time. How do we get unstuck from ego thinking? How do we get away from it? When we hear ourselves saying something like, boy, I don't like this at all, I don't like it one bit, or when we feel like we're biting at a situation or at another person, when our emotions are, quite frankly, a bit out of control, then we know we are being asked to step into a higher frequency. So in those moments where ego is screaming so loudly that we feel like we're going to bust, grab a piece of paper and make a list. Just make a list of all the grievances that want to spew out so loudly. It might be the voice of frustration or doubt or flat out anger. And then for each statement that you write down, for each statement, it might be 20 or 100 things that you write down from the voice of ego. For each one you write down on a different piece of paper, write down the exact reverse. This is your opportunity to be just as contrary as ego. So write down the opposites of whatever ego is complaining about. You could make a title for the first list, and it could be something like Ego's Grievances. And then the title for the new list could be The Positive Experiences I'd Rather Have, or When My Life is Ideal. And as you begin to brainstorm on that second list, you'll notice your energy begins to shift. And then, when you have a healthy list of positives, pick out one statement and create a mantra. This is one of the quickest ways to get unstuck from ego thinking, is to just stop swimming in it and go swim in a different pool. Well, I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges into positive, new successes. But if you still can't get your head around what's got you stuck, you can tell me about it. You can leave a question right here, or if you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks to transform challenges into successes, you can find out more about our events at successcircleworkshops.com. This is where you can learn more about the audacity of alchemy and how to unlock your hidden power. You'll get a personalized interactive roadmap that's custom designed to get you unstuck by unlocking your hidden power to create big, magical changes. You know, alchemy. You'll learn to solve problems, dissolve barriers, and bring success to you. So don't wait. Go to successcircleworkshops.com and get your personalized Alchemy Matrix package right now. You'll get a full-color workbook filled in with hands-on exercises to inspire your creative energies. You'll get membership in your very own Success Circle for high-level masterminding and networking. You'll get your very own customized Alchemy Matrix to unlock your hidden power and bring success to you, and your very own personal unstuckologist. Remember, the Alchemy Matrix is the only tool of its kind, and it's only available here. So if you're ready to approach your life's challenges with audacity, if you're ready to finally banish frustration, indecision, and the negative spiral, if you're ready to watch success materialize right before your eyes, then don't settle another minute for ordinary. Go to successcircleworkshops.com and get your personalized Alchemy Matrix package right now and watch the magic start to happen. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Remy, and I'm wishing you a life filled with all the alchemy you need to bring success to you. By the way, make sure to subscribe to this channel, and if you like what you learned today, be sure and give this video a thumbs up. You can also feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in one of our upcoming Success Circles. You can find out more at successcircleworkshops.com.